The air inside the peace dome was heavy with silence. Both human and Yalvathi leaders stood across from each other, separated by a long glass table. Translators buzzed softly, repeating words in two different tongues. Queen Vela of the Yalvathi Empire sat with grace and calm, her 4 silver eyes never blinking. Across from her, human General Clark nodded politely. Soldiers stood around the edges of the room, all alert. Among them was a human soldier named Ryan. Ryan wasn't anyone important. He was just there for extra security. The higher-ups didn't even bother to tell him much about the event. But he knew this was supposed to be a historic moment. Humans. And Yalvathi had never truly trusted each other. This was their first formal meeting, a chance to bring peace. As Ryan stood near the queen's side of the table, he noticed something strange. One of the Yalvathi guards, standing near the exit, shifted oddly. His hand moved under his cloak. Ryan's eyes narrowed. Before he could speak, a bright red light flashed from the guard's arm. It was a plasma bolt. It was aimed straight. At Queen Vela. Ryan didn't think. He acted. His boots slammed against the floor as he lunged forward. He tackled the queen, pushing her back just as the bolt struck him. Pain exploded through his chest. It felt like fire tearing into his skin. He dropped to the floor, vision spinning. The last thing he saw before everything went dark was the queen kneeling beside him, her long hair falling around her face as she shouted for help. When Ryan opened his eyes, everything was too bright. He blinked slowly, trying to focus. He wasn't in the dome anymore. The ceiling above him was smooth and glowing, not like anything from Earth. Machines buzzed softly nearby. A strange scent filled the air like metal mixed with flowers. He tried to sit up but groaned in pain. His chest was wrapped tightly, and the skin beneath felt sore and hot. "You are awake," said a soft voice. He turned his head and saw her Queen Vela. She stood near the edge of the bed, her hands folded in front of her. She was tall, elegant, and not as cold as she had seemed at the summit. Her eyes looked softer, more curious. "What happened?" Ryan asked, voice rough. "You saved." "My life," Vela replied. "The bolt was meant for me. You took it without hesitation." Ryan blinked. Wasn't really thinking. Just moved. "And because of that," she said slowly, "you are now tied to me by tradition." Ryan frowned. "What tradition?" The queen stepped closer. "In my culture, if someone saves the life of a ruler, a life debt is formed. It is sacred. It cannot be ignored." He tried to laugh, but it hurt. "Well, maybe just say thank you." "And call it even?" She didn't smile. "Our laws do not allow it," she said. "I must repay you with honor and action. The council has already met. They believe I must now fulfill the life debt in full." Ryan sighed. "Great. What does that mean?" "You will find out soon," she said. "But for now, you must rest. You are aboard my personal cruiser. We brought you here for healing. Psst. Our medics worked hard to keep you alive." He looked around again, now noticing the strange alien devices near him. "Yeah, ... definitely not Earth." A soft humming came from the door as a Yalvathi medic entered, checking the machines and nodding politely to the queen. She left a moment. Later, without speaking, Queen Vela remained by his side. "Why did you do it?" she asked quietly. "Why take the hit?" Ryan stared at the ceiling. "I don't know. Maybe because I'm a soldier. Maybe because it felt right. Or maybe because you didn't deserve to die during a peace meeting." She didn't respond for a while. When she finally spoke, her voice was softer. "In my world, people don't do such things without personal gain." Ryan looked at her. "Well, maybe humans are different." She gave a small nod and turned to leave. Before stepping out, she paused at the door. "Rest well, human. Your journey with us has only just begun." When the door closed, Ryan let out a slow breath. "What did I just get myself into?" he whispered. Ryan sat on the soft edge of the bed, carefully moving his arms. He still felt pain in his chest, but it was dull now, not like before. The alien medics had healed him quickly using Yalvathi methods. Glowing gels, strange lights, and gentle machines did what human medicine might have taken weeks to do. Now he wore a loose silver robe, and his human clothes were gone. The door opened with a quiet sound. Queen Vela entered, dressed in royal robes that shimmered like water. Behind her walked 3 elders Yalvathi council members. They were older, their skin slightly faded and lined with glowing marks that showed rank. Ryan stood slowly. Good morning," one of the elders nodded. "We greet you, human Ryan. Your actions saved our queen. It is not forgotten." Vela spoke next. "We have come to explain what must now happen." Ryan gave a tired smile. "I keep hearing that, and I keep getting more confused." The elder in the center stepped forward. "By ancient law, when a royal life is saved, the one who performed the act must be honored. We call it the sacred chain. The queen owes you a life debt, but it is not simple. It must be fulfilled fully and publicly. If not, her honor in the empires will fall." Ryan scratched his head. "So ... what exactly do you want?" From me, Vela looked directly at him. "You must accept the bond, Ryan, and with it, all that comes." Another elder spoke. "You are now tied to the throne, not as a ruler, but as one who holds its protection. You will be named a soul guard." Ryan blinked. "A what?" Vela explained gently. "A soul guard is more than a bodyguard. It is a role passed down through Yalvathi history. A soul guard shares the duty of peace and safety. It is rare, sacred, and not given lightly." So I'm like, "Bye. Your official protector now?" "Yes," she nodded. "And the bond cannot be broken unless death comes." Ryan stared at her, unsure whether to laugh or panic. "Look, I just jumped in front of a bolt. I wasn't asking for a new job. And yet," one elder said, "you are now part of the queen's fate. Your action made it so." Ryan took a deep breath. "What if I say no?" The air in the room grew heavy. The elders looked at each other. Vela spoke slowly. "You may refuse, but it would shame me before my people. It would also mean the bond remains incomplete. That may lead to unrest." Already, voices rise in the council. Some question this bond between human and queen. Ryan looked at her. Her silver eyes held no anger, only quiet strength. She didn't beg. She simply gave him the truth. "So it's either accept this bond and help your people, or break your tradition and cause trouble." Vela nodded once. "Yes." Ryan ran a hand over his face. "This is insane. But fine, I'll do it. I'll be your ... soul guard." The elders nodded slowly. One raised a hand and touched Ryan's shoulder. "Then it is done. Ceremony will be prepared." As the elders left, Vela stayed behind. "You are brave," she said, "not just in battle, but in choice." "I just don't want to cause a war," he muttered. "Still, few would do what you did." He gave a tired chuckle. "So what now? Armor, weapons, royal duties?" "Some," she said with a small smile. "First, we introduce you to the people." Later that day, Ryan stood in a grand hall aboard the Queen's flagship. High above, windows showed stars stretching across the void. The room was full of Yalvathi citizens, nobles, and soldiers. They watched in silence. Ryan wore a special suit, black with blue lines and a golden crest on his chest. It was the mark of the Soul Guard. Vela stood beside him, tall and regal. A priest stepped forward and spoke in Yalvathi. Then he held out a glowing blade. Vela took it and gently touched it to Ryan's shoulder. "This bond is not chains," she said. "It is honor. From this day, I walk with one who gave without asking, and in return I give trust without fear." The crowd hummed softly, their version of applause. When the ceremony ended, Vela turned to him. "You are now watched by millions. Ryan, they will expect strength, wisdom, and calm." "Great," he whispered. "No pressure at all." After the ceremony, they sat in a quiet garden aboard the ship. Strange plants glowed in soft colors. It was peaceful. "This life debt thing," Ryan said. "Does it ever lead to friendship?" Vela tilted her head. "Sometimes, rarely. Often it remains duty." He looked at her, and us. "I do not know yet," she said truthfully. "You have already changed more than you know." They sat in silence for a moment, listening to the gentle hum of the ship. Then Vela added, "Others will not be pleased. Some think I should not bond with a human. Danger may still come. Ryan nodded. Well then, it's a good thing you've got a soul guard now. She smiled for the first time. Yes, she said, it is. News of Ryan becoming Queen Vela's soul guard spread across the galaxy faster than light. Human and Yalvathi media picked it up instantly. Every headline showed the same moment, Trajan kneeling before Vela, accepting the sacred bond. Cameras had caught the ceremony, and now his face was everywhere. Back on Earth, humans were divided. Some were proud of him. Others were confused, even angry. A human in alien politics? They asked. What's he really protecting? The Galactic Council stayed silent, but the tension was rising. On the Queen's ship, Ryan had no time to worry about news broadcasts. His days were now filled with training, meetings, and more training. The Yalvathi combat instructors didn't treat him like a hero. They treated him like a soldier with a job to do. He learned how to use their weapons, how to move in their armor, and how to speak their language better. He didn't enjoy every part of it, but he pushed through. He had made a promise, but not everyone aboard the ship accepted him. During one training session, Yalvathi warrior named Torvik stepped into the ring. He was bigger, older, and his eyes burned with dislike. A human soul guard, Torvik said, circling Ryan. You do not belong in our traditions. Ryan shrugged, holding a training staff. I tell that to your queen. I tell that to your queen. Torvik growled. But respect is earned. Without warning, Torvik lunged. The training staff in his hands moved like lightning. Ryan blocked the first few strikes, but then one blow knocked him flat. The other warriors didn't cheer or laugh. They simply watched. Ryan got back up. Bruised, breathing hard, he lifted his staff again. Torvik attacked again and again. Ryan fell. And again, stood. By the fourth round, he could barely lift his arms. Then Queen Vela entered the room. Enough, she said calmly. Torvik stepped back at once. I meant no harm, Queen. He must be tested. And he passed, she replied. Not because he won, but because he did not quit. She walked over to Ryan and helped him up. Later in the med bay, Ryan lay on a healing bed with a bruised shoulder. Vela stood nearby, quiet. That guy really hates me, Ryan muttered. Torvik is old blood, she said. He follows tradition, but he does not yet understand change. Well, he sure knows how to swing a stick. She smiled softly. We are learning fast. Faster than most thought possible. Ryan looked at her. You believed I could do this? Yes, she said. And now others will start to believe too. But outside the ship, danger was building. A secret meeting was held on a distant moon. Several alien leaders gathered there, those who had never trusted humans or the Yalvathi. Some of them had long hated Queen Vela's rule. Others feared the growing alliance between the two species. A human soul guard is not a bond, one alien growled. It is a sign of control. Humans are taking over. We warned her not to join with Deathworlders, another hissed. But now, she's blind with honor. Then we strike, the first said. We kill the human, and we break the bond. Plans were made in whispers. Back aboard the royal cruiser, Vela and Ryan stood in the communication hall. Holograms of Earth's leaders flickered before them. We're watching you closely, Ryan, one human commander said. You've brought us closer to an empire that once feared us. I didn't mean to be an ambassador, Ryan said. Too late now, the commander replied. Keep your guard up. Not everyone wants peace. When the call ended, Ryan sighed. I joined the army to protect people, he said, not to become a symbol. Vela looked at him. But symbols matter. Sometimes they are stronger than weapons. Ryan didn't answer. He stared out the window at the stars. That night, Ryan couldn't sleep. Something felt wrong. He walked the quiet halls of the ship, checking corners, listening. The guards nodded at him as he passed, but he noticed something strange. One security drone was turned off. That never happened. He rushed to the Queen's chamber. As he entered, he found her alone, reading from a glowing tablet. Queen, we need to leave now, he said. Why? I think we're being targeted. She stood without question. Before they could step out, the wall exploded. A team of masked figures rushed in, firing silent energy weapons. Ryan grabbed a shield from the wall and pulled Vela behind him. Blocked the shots, rolling to cover and drawing a weapon he had trained with. "Stay down," he shouted. Vela crawled behind a desk as Ryan returned fire. He didn't aim to kill, only to stop them. But these weren't amateurs. They moved in perfect formation. Then help arrived. Torvik and the guards burst in, weapons flashing. Within seconds, the attackers were forced back. Retreating through a broken wall into space, Ryan stood panting, his chest burning again. One shot had grazed him. Vela ran to him. "You're hurt. I'll live," he muttered. "You okay?" She nodded. "Thanks to you." Torvik approached, looking serious. "You warned her. You fought well." Ryan looked at him. "Pass your test now." Torvik gave a small nod. "You may be human, but you are Soul Guard." The Queen's ship remained on high alert after the attack. Guards doubled their shifts. Drones floated through every hallway. Visitors were strictly checked. Ryan stayed close to Queen Vela, never letting her out of sight. He didn't trust anyone named after masked attackers had nearly ended her life. Even after his injury, Ryan refused to rest. He trained harder, sharper, faster. Torvik now trained with him often, sometimes silent, sometimes giving advice. It was clear Torvik now respected him, even if they didn't speak much. But Ryan didn't just want to protect Vela with weapons. He wanted to understand her world. "I need to see where you came from," he told her one morning. Vela raised her eyebrow. "You want to visit my homeworld?" "Yeah, I need to know what I'm really protecting." She nodded slowly. We go. The Queen's ship arrived above Yalvath, her planet, within days. The view from orbit was breathtaking, shining rivers across purple lands, floating islands, and soft golden clouds. As they descended, Ryan stared through the window, silent. It didn't look anything like Earth, but it felt alive. They landed near the capital, a place called Venshara. It was made of curved towers and quiet gardens, shaped with care and age. The buildings glowed gently, as if breathing. As they stepped off the ship, a crowd waited. They bowed to Queen Vela, then looked at Ryan. Some faces held respect. Others held doubt. Vela leaned close. "They watch you. Not all of them trust humans yet." "Good," Ryan whispered. "Shouldn't. Not until they know who we are." Began a long walk through the city. Guards stayed nearby, but at a distance. Ryan noticed statues of past rulers, old battle sites, and even a school where young Yalvathi practiced diplomacy. They stopped near a tall building carved from crystal. Vela placed her hand on a stone at the door, and it opened. "This is the Hall of Honor," she said, "where we remember those who gave without demand." Inside, the walls were covered with names, carvings, and glowing lights. Ryan's name had just been added it on, in the same way as heroes from Yalvathi history. "They put my name here?" he asked, surprised. "Yes," Vela said. "Your act is part of our story now?" A soft silence settled between them. "Vela," he said after a while, "what was your life like before all this?" She looked around the hall, thoughtful, busy, full of decisions. "My parents died young. I became queen when I was barely grown. I had to earn trust, even from my own council. So you've always carried this weight." "Yes," she said, "but I never complained. It was my duty." Ryan nodded. "You're strong, stronger than most people I've met." Vela looked at him with quiet eyes. "And yet you jumped in front of a bolt for me. Guess we're both stubborn." For the first time in days, they both laughed. The next day, Vela took Ryan to a wide-open field near the city. Hundreds of Yalvathi had gathered. It was called the Gathering of Voices, a tradition, where the people could speak freely to the Queen. Ryan stood beside her on the stage. One elder stepped forward. "Queen, we respect your rule, but a human soul guard. This is not our way." Another shouted, "Will he know our pain? Will he defend us if the humans turn?" Vela raised her hand. "He already has. Right. Twice now, He's risked his life for me. Not because of power, but because he chose to. Ryan stepped forward too. I'm not here to take anything. I'm here to protect peace. Your queen is trying to build something better, and I'm with her. Some nodded. Others remained silent. Then a small Yalvaith girl stepped from the crowd. She was shaking, nervous, but held something in her hands, a small drawing. She looked up at Ryan. My brother said humans are scary, but I saw you save our queen. I wanted to say thank you. She gave him the drawing. It showed Ryan standing in front of Vela with stars all around them. He took it gently, kneeling to her level. Thank you, he said. This means a lot. The crowd softened, some clapped, others smiled. The fear was still there, but the wall between them had started to crack. That night, Ryan stood on a balcony overlooking the city. Soft lights blinked in the distance. Vela joined him, silent for a moment. You spoke well today, she said. I just told the truth. The people heard it. Change is slow, but they listened. Ryan looked at her. What happens now? Is this bond we share? How deep does it go? She didn't answer right away. In my people's eyes, we are bound until the debt is fully repaid. Some think it means a lifetime of service. Others believe it should be sealed with unity. A few even whisper about joining our bloodlines. Ryan stared ahead. That's a lot. Yes, she said. But I will not force anything on you. I never wanted to trap you with our laws. He turned to her. You didn't trap me? I chose to stay. And whatever comes next, we'll face it together. Vela gave a small, rare smile. Then let's see where it leads. The sun of Yalvath rose slowly, casting soft golden light across the city towers. Queen Vela stood inside the council hall, her hands folded behind her back. Ryan stood next to her, wearing his soul guard armor. The great chamber was filled with nobles, elders, and officials. The walls shimmered with energy, and quiet voices echoed like whispers. The time has come, one elder said, rising from his seat. The life debt has been honored in part. The sacred bond is not yet complete. Another elder stood. As tradition demands, there must be a final act, a full repayment. The queen must decide, bind this soul guard to the throne, or break the bond and carry the shame forever. The chamber grew still. Ryan looked at Vela. Is that true? You have to either join me to your court forever, or ... be shamed? Vala didn't turn to him. She looked forward, her face calm but unreadable. Yes, she said softly. The final choice is mine. The elders waited. Some looked uneasy. Others watched with curiosity. Then Vela spoke clearly, her voice echoing across the chamber. I will complete the bond, she said, but not with chains. I will not make him a prisoner of tradition. Instead, I will offer him a place at my side as protector, as voice and as bridge between two peoples. If he accepts, the bond shall be fulfilled. Offer him place in the inner circle, one elder asked. No outsider has ever been given that. Times change, Vela replied. We must grow or we will fall. The elders turned to Ryan. Human, do you accept? Ryan looked at all of them. He wasn't a diplomat. He was a soldier. He didn't know all their laws or customs. But he knew one thing: he couldn't walk away from this. Yes, he said. I accept. The chamber filled with glowing light. As the bond was sealed, a soft chime rang out, and the mark on Ryan's armor changed. A new symbol, one of unity and choice. Later, Ryan and Vela walked through the Queen's garden. Guards stayed at a distance, giving them space. Double quotes, so, ... I'm royalty now. ... Vela smiled slightly. Not quite. But you now speak. But you now speak with my voice in matters of protection and peace. It is a heavy task. Ryan nodded. I can handle it. They sat near a pool of still water. Alien birds sang nearby, their songs soft and strange. Vela, Ryan said, some of your people still don't trust me. True, she replied. But they are watching. With time, they will see who you really are. What about the others? The ones who attacked us? Her smile faded. They still move in the shadows. We have traced some of them. And their message is clear. They want the bond broken. Orion clenched his fists. Then they'll try again. They will, Vela agreed. But now you are no longer just my protector. You are a part of this empire. They will not strike. Only at Meath, they will strike at both of us. Ryan looked at her. Then we stand together. That night, a message came through the private channel. A spy from Vela's network appeared on the screen. My queen, the attackers were hired by a group known as the Dusk Pact, are planning something bigger. We believe they will strike during the Gathering of Moons, when all leaders come to your capital. Vela nodded. Send more details. We'll prepare. The screen faded. Ryan stood beside her. They're trying to make an example of us. Yes, she said. If they kill you or me during the summit, they'll destroy everything we built. Ryan stepped forward. Then we make sure they fail. Vela looked at him. This won't be like before. This time we'll be in the open, and everyone will be watching. He smiled. Good. Let them see. Yes. The Gathering of Moons arrived. 2 days later, leaders from over 20 worlds came to Yalvath. Ships filled the skies. Banners hung from every tower. People crowded the streets. The summit was held in the Great Harmony Chamber, an open space beneath a sky dome that showed the stars above. Vela wore her formal robes and Ryan stood beside her in full Soul Guard armor. As the meeting began, speakers took turns. Some praised the bond. Others questioned it. A few warned of human power growing too fast. Suddenly, the lights flickered. Ryan's eyes narrowed. He placed a hand on his weapon. A sharp sound rang through the era signal. Then chaos. A group of attackers disguised as diplomats pulled out hidden weapons. Energy blasts filled the air. People screamed. Guards rushed forward. Ryan moved instantly, shielding Vela. He pushed her behind the central column and fired back. His shots were clean, aimed to disable, not kill. One of the attackers charged with a blade. Ryan blocked it, twisted the weapon away, and knocked the enemy to the ground. Across the hall, Torvik led Yalvathi's soldiers. They fought hard, clearing the attackers one by one. Finally, silence returned. The enemy had been stopped. Ryan stood in the center, breathing hard. His armor was scorched, but he stood tall. Vela stepped forward and raised her voice. You have seen what hatred brings, but you have also seen what unity can do. This man, this human, stood for peace, and he bled for it again. Ask yourselves now, who is truly worthy of trust? No one spoke for a while then. One by one, leaders stood and nodded. Even those who doubted her before gave quiet signs of agreement. The gathering ended with a new message, one not of fear, but of hope. The images of Ryan standing strong in the center of the Harmony Chamber, his armor burned but his hand still steady on his weapon, spread across the galaxy. Even those who once called him an outsider now spoke his name with respect. He was no longer just a human soldier. He had become a living symbol of unity between two worlds. On the surface of Yalvath, lights glowed across cities as citizens lit candles for peace. People gathered in public squares to honor the bond between Queen Vela and her Soul Guard. Statues were raised not just of Vela, but of Ryan too. It's carved in stone beside her. But for Ryan, fame didn't matter. He sat alone on a high balcony, looking out at the stars. He had saved Vela again, yes, but at a cost. Several guards had been hurt. A few leaders had returned home early, shaken. And though they had won that battle, the threat of the Dusk Pact still lingered in the shadows. Vela joined him quietly. She wore no crown, just a simple robe. Beside Ryan, she didn't need to be a queen just herself. You haven't spoken much since the summit, she said softly. Ryan gave a small smile, just thinking. About what? About how this all started, he said. 1 second. I'm a guard at a peace meeting. The next, I'm standing next to a queen in front of half the galaxy. Vela nodded. Life moves fast. Yeah, he said, looking at her. And I never asked for this. But I don't regret it. Neither do it till I. The silence between them was comfortable now. They didn't need many words. Then she said, there is still one more part of the bond. Ryan turned to her. I thought it was fulfilled. It is in the eyes of tradition, she said, but not in the eyes of the heart. I gave you a place beside me in court. I made you soul guard, but that was duty. The final choice is yours. Will you stay not just as protector, but as partner? Ryan didn't answer right away. He thought of Earth, of his old unit, of the life he'd left behind. He thought of battles and danger of speeches and politics. But mostly, he thought of Vela, her strength, her calm, the way she stood alone when others doubted her, and how she never forced him, only offered. I'll stay, he said at last, not because I have to, but because I want to. Vela's silver eyes softened. Then you are no longer just my soul guard. You are part of me, part of us. The weeks that followed, plans were made. Earth and Yalvath signed a full peace treaty. Trade opened between the two species. Young humans began to study Yalvathi language. Yalvathi children read books about human history. A new force was created. Joint team of human and Yalvathi peacekeepers. They wore badges shaped like the two joined crests of their people. Torvik became commander of the Yalvathi side. Ryan became advisor and trainer. No one questioned his place anymore. As for the Dusk Pact, they didn't vanish. Well, they lost much. Of their support, their attack had failed, and now most worlds wanted peace. One day Ryan and Vela walked through the school for young diplomats. They were guests of honor. The students cheered and asked questions. A small Yalvathi boy raised his hand. Sir Ryan, why did you jump in front of the bolt that day? Ryan smiled. Because I saw someone about to die, and I couldn't let it happen, even though she wasn't human. Especially because she wasn't, he said. Because peace only works when we protect each other. Vela placed a gentle hand on his arm. He taught us that better than any history book. Years later, the bond between them became something greater. Not only had Vela and Ryan remained allies, they had become something more. Trusted leaders, true friends, and for many across the stars. A reminder that two different beings could stand together as equals. The final payment of the life debt wasn't a crown or a throne. It was a future shared.